What's on, where and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio. Sport. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Mako Rugby Roundup podcast, where we find out who the fanatics are when it comes to all things rugby in the top of the south. I'm Chris Butler, and as usual, nice to have him back in the studio. Les Edwards, back from Lansdowne Park.
Happy to be here, Chris. Good to see you.
And we've got another treat now. It's becoming regular. In studio with us is Mako and Blues player Anton Segner. Welcome, Anton.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey mate, great to have you in the studio.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Obviously, Ethan set the bar, and now the challenge is on. It's co-hosting podcasts is the new skill set to learn. Hey, good to have you here, mate. On today's show, we're going to be talking about college rugby. We're going to be doing a Mako update with the FPC and MPC. Of course, our special guest, New Zealand under 20 Blues and Mako player, Anton Segner. And we're going to be talking about the upcoming All Black game. Here we go again. Will they respond? And Anton, it'll be interesting to get your thoughts. You've been an under 20, so you'll know the pressure of performing in that area. But let's talk first 15 rugby first, and congratulations to the first 15. They've done it again.
Yeah, they've just been remarkable over the last 4 years. 3 titles in 4 seasons. Anton was in one of those. They beat St Bede's 45-19 at Sports Park Motueka. And when you think about that scoreline, 45-19 in a Crusaders region final, that's an amazing scoreline. And this we will remember as a very young college team. Half a dozen year 11s, half a dozen year 12s, and the rest year 13s. We weren't expecting this result when the season started, but it's an awesome achievement. And Anton, you've been a big part of that setup, haven't you?
Yeah, obviously did my 3 years of schooling at Nelson College, and my last year, my year 13, was John O'Phillips' first year's head coach, and yeah, he's an awesome man and an awesome coach, obviously, as well, and he plays a huge role in the Nelson College rugby success. Still, to this day, one of the best coaches I've ever had.
Yeah, what's his key attribute that makes you say that? What does he bring to you and to a team environment?
I think he's obviously had loads of coaching experience. Like, he's been over in Scotland, having a role there as a coach for the Scottish national team, and then he's been involved with the Hurricanes as well. But I think the main thing is how he keeps up to date with the modern game. So the game is obviously constantly evolving, and I think that he's got a really good system that gives the players the ability to play to their own strengths. So although there is a system, it allows you as an individual to play to your own individual strength, and I think especially at schoolboy level that's really key for those boys, and that's what I found as well when I was playing for him.
Yeah, I think that's a really good insight, because you worry though that at first 15 maybe there are structures and you've got to play to a pattern and kids forget how to play what's in front of them, but you're saying that's not the case at the college.
No, not at all. Well, the structure is definitely there, but
yes.
The main reason for structure or shape is to create opportunities. I guess that the system that he has the boys playing in is really good at creating that space, and then the boys, they're good and talented enough to make sense of that opportunity and take it.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. So, Chris, they go on now.
I know, it doesn't stop there.
Yeah, they've got another game tomorrow on the front field at 12 noon. They're playing John McGlashan College in the South Island final.
Yeah, that's right, and home advantage again. So, which is great, fantastic, because often, as you will attest, Anton, you've had to travel away for the big games.
Yeah, in my year when we were fortunate enough to make the South Island final, we had to travel down to Dunedin, which was a cool experience for all the boys, obviously. But yeah, you can't really beat playing in front of your own school, and then obviously the bonus of that is playing in front of your schoolmates as well. So I look forward to it. Haven't been able to watch too much of the Nelson College footy this year. I was able to watch the semi-final on the front field as well, and then obviously watch the final over at Mott Sports Park, which was awesome to see. And yeah, the boys are playing some good footy, so I look forward to seeing them go. Yeah,
wonderful.
Do we know much about John McGlashan College?
I don't know too much. Actually, back when we made the South Island final, we played Otago boys. So
yes, yeah.
I don't really know too much about John McGlashan here, but obviously pretty decent side.
Yeah, obviously
to be able to make the South Island final.
Yeah, I'm not au fait with them, but yeah, they are the Highlanders region finalists.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
Yeah, so Highlanders versus Crusaders, that's what this is all about. So go Nelson College, get another victory, make it to the top 4 the following weekend.
Definitely, and that's bring it home. Midday kick-off, Nelson College front field. Tasman Mako women, well, high hopes for the quarterfinals, but alas, North Harbour, a bit probably like the Australian women's team, they turned it around.
Oh yes, they certainly did. We were there, watched them play. Basically, the turnaround of the Hibiscus was remarkable. They were so energetic right from the get-go. We didn't put them under field position pressure, which we had done the previous time we'd beaten them. They were the better team on the day, so unfortunately not the result we were wanting, but a relatively good season, I think, for the Farah Palmer Cup team. Some talented young ladies coming through, still very young. Anton, would you say that's the case?
Yeah, definitely. And it was really good to see them have some good success throughout the season and make it all the way to the quarterfinals, especially comparing this season to their last couple of seasons. You know, like they definitely stepped up big time. And I guess it just goes to show that you have to do the hard yards, which for them, I suppose, was the last couple of years. But you get the results in the end, and that shows with the awesome season that they had this year.
Yeah, Chris, no 80-point blowouts this year, which was
just
terrific. They were in the fight in every game, and this game here, they lost the final 31-20, but they scored a couple of good tries. And, I'm looking forward to the continued development of that side going into 2023.
Well, I was reading some of the comments after the game and just how many people enjoyed watching them this season and, were commenting on a fantastic effort. And so really building up a groundswell of community support.
Yes,
they are which is fantastic.
Good bunch of young ladies.
Tasman Mako men last Saturday in Lansdowne Park, Blenheim. Well, the weather was beautiful. It was set up for a big day. Canterbury were in town.
Continuing on the positives, a very big crowd turned up. We had about 4,000 people there.
Wow!
There were 17 marquees chocker with people. The stands were, full and energised. So, look, this Canterbury team, they did it again midweek. They're a machine. They've had one hiccup against Taranaki, a game they lost, but their lineup against us was awesome. And I have to say, no excuses, but the Mako team is pretty depleted at the moment. You take out the 8 guys, the 7 All Blacks and Ethan. We didn't play with either of our co-captains in Mitch Hunt and Quinn Strange. We'd lost our best player of the week before in Sione Havili Talitui to injury. Max Hicks was out. It's a depleted team at the moment, lots of injuries, and that wasn't helped, was it, Anton, with the game against Canterbury? We lost Antonio Shalfoon now for the rest of the season. Ryan Cox in a pretty serious hand injury. It's just one of those years. I think we must have walked under a ladder.
Definitely. Of course, it's always tough having to deal with injuries as a team, but even tougher as an individual, obviously. But at the same time, it offers really good opportunities to other young players in the group, so they're able to put their hand up, and most importantly, they're getting that experience at that level. So I suppose that further down the line, they're obviously gaining experience just by playing. So although it is tough as a team dealing with injured players and stuff, at the same time you got to look on the bright side of it, and that's that the younger boys or the not so experienced boys are getting exposed at that level or are getting exposed to that level, and that's awesome for them and awesome for the future, I think, as well. And I think we're building really nicely throughout the season. We obviously haven't been getting the results that we wanted, but learning heaps of things week in, week out, and hopefully we'll get the results on the line soon.
Yeah, well, tonight's the night.
Exactly.
You played the full 80 against Canterbury, but here you are in the studio rather than up in Palmerston North, so you must have copped a bit of a knock at the during the course of that game?
Yeah, I think it was about halfway through the second half. I unfortunately got another head knock, but it was at the same time that Ryan Coxon got injured there, so the physios and doctors were busy dealing with him and weren't able to pick up my head knock. But yeah, it's obviously frustrating again, especially because I just came back from a head knock, but you obviously got to be cautious because you only get one brain and one head in your life. So you've got to be cautious.
Did you feel that you should have come off at that time, or was it something that you only noticed later when after full time?
I definitely felt that I got a knock to the head, but it sort of just stunned me a little bit. Like I didn't get any symptoms or anything, and even after the game and the day after the game, I didn't have any headaches, didn't feel slowed down or anything. But the doctors and also the referee actually went up to our team doctor and said that maybe you should do an HIA on myself. And the doctor looked at the tape and it looked like a pretty nasty knock to the head. So we're just being cautious and, in my opinion, doing the right thing. Just by having a bit of time off. Yeah,
I spoke to Leon McDonald once about life after rugby and just some of the things that he'd had to go through with suffering from head knocks and concussion over time. So I think what they're doing now is because there is a long time after rugby. Whether you go into coaching or sports administration or another field or business, you've got to use the brain and you've got to keep healthy. So I think these things, even though it's a tough physical game, these little steps go further to a longer life, longer healthier life, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, so all right, well, we'll just have to brush that one aside. And every team goes through cycles. I mean, we've lost quite a few players who have done very well for the Mako. We've had some great success. They've moved on to higher powers. And, sometimes a team does go through cycles and you have to rebuild for the future. And there's a lot of young players coming through. So cross fingers. And the season's not over yet. We have got tonight in Palmerston North, 7:05 versus Manawatu.
Yeah, so after this, I'm on a plane to go up and watch that. Looking forward to seeing our team run around. Interesting matchup. Lester Whanganuku back from the All Blacks and his brother Tima, former Mako player, on the wing for Manawatu. So that'll be a nice little rivalry to keep an eye on. Good news, we've got Quinn Strange back, we've got Max Hicks back. We're missing Anton, but it's a good team that's been named. Still waiting for Mitch Hunt to make an appearance, but in the meantime, Willie Havili will run the show at number 10. So that's I'm going to put my neck out here and predict a victory for the good old Mako.
Hey, good stuff. What are your thoughts, Anton? You've seen the boys prepare this week.
Yeah, I'm optimistic, and as you said, the training week has been awesome. You've seen a big shift in our mindset within the team, so I'm looking forward to seeing the boys go. And I'm quite optimistic and confident that the boys will get the job done up there.
Do you know much about the Manawatu team? Is it many of the players from last year, or?
I know a wee bit. I obviously know of Tima, and I think that was one of the main reasons why Lester wanted to come back and play as well, was to play against his brother and hopefully give him a good hiding. But I don't know too much about it actually. I've got a few of those players, Joey Gavigan, one of their props, and then TK Howden as well, one of their loose forwards. I played under 20s with them, so they're both good young prospects coming through the ranks as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing them go against our boys.
Good stuff. All right.
Good halves. Brett Cameron at first 5'8", former Canterbury player and a one-test All Black.
Yes.
He's a handy player. So, look, it won't be an easy battle. As always in rugby, our forwards are going to have to do the work, but I do like the match-up. I think we can win this one.
All right, we'll be looking forward to the updates. Next week, it's a huge week. It's going to be called Storm Week. We've got Wednesday 7:05 versus Wellington, and then Sunday 2:05 versus Taranaki.
Yeah, so in rugby circles, when you play 2 games in 5 days, it's called a Storm Week for those Wednesday midweek encounters. So we're going to tie that in with the fact that we've had a massive storm in the region, and we're going to contribute to the Nelson Tasman Mayoral Relief Fund by the Tasman Rugby Union, and the Mako players will donate $3 of every adult ticket sold to the fund.
Oh, fantastic.
And on top of that, we're asking the fans to make a contribution if they want to by texting STORM to 3493 to donate $3. So
fantastic.
It's a really neat opportunity for us as a union and for our fans to make a contribution to the fund that will get the money to the people who need it the most.
Yep, sure. And Tom, with these midweek games, how do you prepare for that? Because obviously usually you get a full week's worth of training, you got the recovery and then the analysis and then you build up to the game, but all of a sudden you've got this game in the middle of it. So what changes do you go through there?
Yeah, having the Storm week, it changes things up preparation-wise a wee bit, and it's just a huge emphasis on recovery and load management. So that'll start as soon as the boys, or as soon as the whistle blows today. The boys will be focused on their recovery, and then we'll probably look to have their Saturday off, and then Sunday probably get back into the gym, and then Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, this coming Monday will probably be our biggest training day. But yeah, the big emphasis on making sure that the boys that we nail our recovery so that we're ready to go come Wednesday. But we really embrace the Storm week every year because our favourite day of the week as a team is game day, and to have 3 of those within just just over a week is pretty cool. So the boys are looking forward to it, and yeah, we're really excited, and hopefully get a few people down to Trafalgar Park. There's always a good atmosphere down at T Park here.
Don't forget to get your tickets, mako.nz. You're with the Mako Rugby Roundup, and it's our great pleasure to welcome to our studio. He's a Blues player, he's an under-20 New Zealand player, and he's a Mako player as well, Anton Segner. Great to have you in here, mate. You're Mako 199, and your story is fairly well known because it's all about the fact that you were born and raised in Germany, and I haven't actually seen the German national team play, and probably not the sport that they're really usually associated with, usually absolutely killing it in the roundball game, game of football.
Exactly.
World champions, I think 4 times maybe.
Somewhere
We've won the
around
World
there.
Cup, so pretty hard for a young German boy to be pushed into a game of rugby. So how did that come about?
Yeah, obviously don't get too many Germans coming around here to play rugby just yet anyway. But yeah, as you said, born and raised in Frankfurt, Germany, and then it was a guy named Tim Manawatu who got me over here. So I went to an international school in Frankfurt, and 2 of my best mates were from England. And then basically after school went to their house one time, and we didn't really know what to do, and they said, oh, why don't we play rugby in the backyard? And at the time I didn't know what rugby was, never heard anything about it, but then we went into the backyard and basically didn't really play rugby, we played a game of run it straight.
Ball rush, I think we call it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was it. And then I thought to myself, well, if this is what the game is all about, then I'm more than happy to join in.
Well, you're 6'4" and a reasonable body size.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I actually started off playing as a prop, so I was probably the same weight I am now, just a few centimetres shorter. But yeah, then I think it was the week after I went to the local rugby club in Frankfurt, SC 1880 Frankfurt it's called, and that's where I first met Tim Manawatu, who then coached me for my first 5 years of playing rugby. And then in 2016 he actually got the RDO role here at the Tasman Rugby Union, and then the year after, 2017, he sort of texted me and just said, oh, I reckon you should have a crack at making the first 15 at Nelson College. And back then I was a year 11, so I was sort of like, oh, that's a shoot for the stars sort of mindset you got there. But I was keen because, yeah, as I say, I'm in love with the game. So then as a 15-year-old, I came over here, went to Nelson College, fortunately made the first 15, and then
the rest is history.
Exactly. Kept coming back for year 12, year 13,
Well,
and then...
I suppose, Nelson College did host quite a few international students. So, for an opportunity for a young person, there was the AFS exchange that used to be about, or especially when I went to school. And so... and I've hosted German interns in my office doing marketing internships, and they encourage people to go overseas from Germany. So I guess a great opportunity, and why not?
Exactly. Well, yeah, New Zealand is actually quite a popular exchange student destinations for Germans. Like, even during COVID times, I was sitting in a cafe and I was hearing people speak German. I was like, "What are you doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be here." But yeah, it's always good to hear the language. Even just around Nelson, like you get loads of German tourists, and I'm sure that'll pick up again soon.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, and then 3 years with the first 15, and you'd have to say quite successful. So tell us a little bit about your experience with the first 15 rugby.
Yeah, it was awesome, and still to this day, one of the most enjoyable rugby I've played in my career so far, and yeah, obviously my first year, that 2017 year, was Lester Whanganuku's last year, so he was my captain that year, and that's how I got to know him, and yeah, still good mates with him to this day, so that was really cool. And then year 12 and year 13, year 12 was good. That was sort of my first year as more of a senior player in the team, which was cool, and obviously played with loads of good mates, including Luca Inch, who I'm still really good mates with now, and he's obviously with Tasman and with the Highlanders at the moment too. And then like we touched on before, my year 13 was my first year of John O'Phillips being head coach, and we were really successful that year. Obviously had a great coaching staff and a really good team as well. So that was
you
a really
captained
good year
that side,
too.
didn't you, Anton?
Yeah.
I captained the year 13 side, and my vice captain was Fergus Hughes at the time, which was cool.
Right, and won the regional
final
and won the South Island final.
Exactly, and then went up to top 4 and got to know some of the big boys from the North Island squad, which was a bit of a different story. But yeah, it was an awesome experience being able to go up there and represent Nelson College, I think for the second time ever that was.
Yeah,
I think Mitch Hunt's side was the only other team to do it at the time. So yeah, it was cool to be a part of that.
Wonderful, and I hope this current team goes on and emulates that. You became a Mako then in 2020, and you played for the under-20s in 2021, and you were in the Crusaders development system, but you ended up playing Super Rugby for the Blues. So I'm wondering how you slipped through Razor's fingers.
Yeah, you're definitely not the first guy to ask that question. But it was just obviously going to Nelson College and playing for the Mako. I was always in and around that Crusaders environment and really enjoyed that environment as well. But when the opportunities with the Blues came up, I was really keen to take that on, obviously, because it's it's a new environment, it's a change of scenery, and I was really attracted to that. And me being born and raised in a big city, Frankfurt, I was keen to sort of get back into that lifestyle a little bit. And yeah, still to this day, Auckland compared to rest of New Zealand sort of seems like a whole different country, just because it's such a big city. But like I say, I think it's because of the fact that I was born and raised in a big city, is that I really enjoy the life up there and enjoy the lifestyle up there. And there's obviously a good bunch of lads within the Blues environment, and yeah, enjoy the coaching staff as well, and Leon and Tom Coventry. So yeah,
has Tom Coventry helped your game a lot?
Definitely. He's been an awesome coach, and not just on set piece, because he's really good about his detail within that area, obviously, but also around the breakdown. Like I think he brings a really good aggressive mindset to the breakdown on both sides of the ball. That's on attack and defense, and I think sort of trying with the coaches here at Tasman, trying to adopt that mindset a bit that he sort of introduced to me, because yeah, it obviously works. And yeah, we had a good year up there. Just that last hurdle hurt us a little bit.
Yeah, and you got some game time, didn't you?
Exactly, yeah. So when I first signed that contract, I didn't expect to get nearly as much game time as I ended up getting. I think I played about 7 or 8 games in the end, and yeah, enjoyed every minute on the field.
Yeah, well, mind you, we love seeing you out there playing and representing the region at that high level. Now, I want to get back to your family. Because obviously they must be pretty cool people to let you come all this way for a rugby experience, and now of course you're probably here to stay, because I'm pretty certain.
Well, yeah, like he can't go home now.
I'm pretty certain he wants to play for the black jersey and not a red and yellow and black.
I don't even know what that jersey colour is. Yeah.
Red, yellow, and black. I think it is.
Yeah,
but do they get to watch your Mako and your Super Rugby matches by live stream, or how do they get to watch you play?
Yeah, they do. They do it by live stream. So they've got they use a VPN for it. So it's sort of to trick the internet that they're watching it from New Zealand, and that's how they get access to Sky Sport New Zealand. And my dad, or my whole family, my 2 brothers and my mum, they get up early mornings to watch my games, which is pretty cool. And then usually after the game, when I go onto my phone, I always have a message from my dad giving me feedback, and it's always
has he
always
become a
some
bit of an
criticism.
expert?
Yeah. Well, he reckons anyway.
That's wonderful. And I know your mum holds you in highest fondest regards, because she made a big trip to come and watch you play and surprised you at a super game in Australia.
Yeah, it was over in Perth actually. So we went out for a team dinner in Perth, and then I was sitting there, and then I think it was the team manager. He said that we've got a new forwards coach, and then I was sort of confused and turned around, and there she was, and she caught me off guard. Alright, got a bit emotional in front of the boys. But nah, it was awesome to see her again. And then she actually travelled back with the team back to Auckland. And then my dad was the first tourist into the country as well after all that COVID stuff.
So he got here too?
Yeah.
How wonderful.
He got here too, and they managed to watch a couple of our Blues games, which was cool. And then, obviously after the Blues season, I managed to go back to Germany for 3 weeks as well, which was cool to see my brothers and see all my friends and family back there.
And that would have been wonderful. But I hear you went back to your local club. And was there a final on? And is it true that you got treated a bit like a rock star by all of our fans over there?
Yeah, Weaver. It was awesome timing, actually. So I caught the flight back the week after the final, obviously, and landed on a Thursday night, German time. And then that Saturday was the club final, which fortunately my club was a part of and won as well, actually. So it was really cool to be a part of that. And a cool story was that I was watching the game, and then I look up at the stands, which were surprisingly packed with people, and then I see 2 Mako jerseys, and I was like,
wow.
Two Tasman jerseys on literally the other end of the world, and so I go up to the guys and I shoulder tap them, and they sort of just stare at me for 2 minutes because they couldn't believe that it was me, and it was just cool to see that I've got that sort of support back home.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, here's the dream, mate. Here's my vision, is that you'll make the All Blacks, you'll end up captaining the All Blacks one day. This is what I believe, and that there'll be a tour, and on the way through they'll stop in for a game in Frankfurt against the German national side, and you'll lead it out. So there you go, mate.
That sounds like an awesome dream to me.
I'll put it out there, and if it comes true, you owe me $20.
All right, there you go. Yep.
Or a signed Mako jersey.
Yeah, or a signed Mako. Yeah,
either or. Both.
Okay. Lastly, with the Mako, so in that group, who do you hang out with?
Everyone. Really.
Everyone.
Yeah, I consider most of my teammates, if not all of them, obviously my mates. But obviously from school, Luca Inch is one of my best mates in the team, just because I've known him for so long, and his family as well. They've played a big role in my life in New Zealand. So he's definitely one of my closest ones. And then other people like Sione Havili, because he's sort of taken me under his wing ever since I joined the Mako environment. Hugh Renton as well, he's another one. So it's us loose forwards.
So those senior loose forwards really helping you in your game, and that's what you will do to the next lot who come in also.
Yes, definitely. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So who's the biggest pest?
Apart from Luca Ring.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say him, actually. Your previous guest, Ethan Blackadder.
Oh, right.
He's a bit of a pest, actually, yeah. He's a bit of a character, but yeah, the team is full of pretty, of little pests, I guess. Loads of names to go around.
Are you
but all good pests. All
are
good
you
pests.
a pest?
I don't consider myself a pest, no. I'm one of the few that aren't.
All right, there you go. Thanks very much, Anton. You're with the Mako Rugby Roundup, and it's time to talk All Black Rugby. And, well, I don't know if we saw this coming, did we? Because I think we all jumped on the fact that maybe the All Blacks had hit their straps in South Africa, and that was it. We're on the up and up. And for the first probably 60 minutes, you would have to say, well, until they changed the front row.
Yeah, 45 minutes.
45 minutes, yes. You would say that was going to be the case. They had a patch where it wasn't going their way, but you kind of always felt that maybe, and even the players said this, that, something was going to open up and they'd sneak through. But they didn't again. And with the All Blacks in the past, probably haven't played their best in the last couple of years, but, they have found those moments. So, yeah. And here we go again. So then we've got no changes, pretty much. We've got a couple of minor changes, especially at hooker. Obviously, Dane Coles comes in on the bench. Foster has shown faith again. And here we go against Argentina. And we've got that same feeling. We're going, well, maybe.
Let's hope so.
Maybe. Whereas in the past, we would always think, absolutely, we're going to come storming back. But, yeah, we just, so what were your thoughts, lads?
Well, I'll start by saying that I was very optimistic at the 45-minute mark. And then when the entire front row got called off, I thought, wow, that's early. That is early. Yeah. And why not at the 40-minute mark at half-time if you're going to do that? And are they trying to replicate the South African bomb squad model of a complete change of front row for the second half? to my way of thinking, that's when the test was lost. Clearly. And that most people would say that, wouldn't they, Anton? That at that point, the replacement props and Cody Taylor at hooker just lost their way. The Argentinian forward pack got on top, which they hadn't been for 45 minutes. And then once they got on top, their passion and Latino energy just really got their hopes high and their passion high, and they steamrolled it.
Yeah, I think it's mainly credit to the Argentinians, really. And as you say, the amount of passion that they play with, I love it every time I watch them play, because they've got so much pride in that jersey and so much pride in playing for their country. And yeah, I love seeing that every time that they take the field, with how much pride and passion they play with. And it obviously goes to show how far that can take you. And yeah, I think it's all credit to the Argentinian team sticking in there right to the end, because they would have felt a fair amount of pressure at half-time and coming out of half-time as well. But yeah, just the amount of pride that they have, I think that's what allowed them to get back into the game, and then ultimately obviously win the game as well. So yeah, I think it's huge credit to the Argentinians and the way that they stuck in there, and yeah, really played for their country.
And to add to that, Michael Cheika said belief.
Yeah.
You know, he said one of the things for this team is that they've got a lot of passion, but it was belief that we needed to install in them. So you've got to believe that you're going to beat the All Blacks.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that was apparent at the 65-minute mark. At 65 minutes, I did not see the All Blacks being able to break down that passion and that belief that they were clearly showing. It was like, this is lost already, because they'd lost that mind game against a very, very good Argentinian team with its tail up.
A couple of tweaks, as mentioned before. Dane Cole's on the bench. Brody Retallick is on the return. Dalton Papali'i, what a lot of commentators have been calling to have a crack at number 7, and the return of Bowden Barrett. So whether he comes on and has a stormer. So what are your thoughts about this weekend?
I'm looking forward to it, because both teams again will come out really, really hungry, and yeah, I obviously look forward to seeing my mate Dalton Papali'i and Bowden Barrett go as well. So it's good to see those two guys back, and yeah, just look forward to the game and look forward to the battle, because I'm sure, especially after the loss last week, is that the All Blacks, they definitely don't like to lose 2 in a row. So I think they're going to put on a really special show for us on Saturday.
Yeah, I think New Zealand will get the game sorted. There was an apparent strength in that first half that they've just got to continue deeper into the game. I would say that by the 60-minute mark, if the All Blacks are on top, then they're going to have that energy and belief that they will be able to win this test match as well. I just think that front football and going forward is the key to let Richie Mo'unga be the best first 5'8" in the country. And, you know, he was for a period of time there in that first test. But unfortunately, once we start going backwards, our back line doesn't seem to look like it's got answers. So to break rush defence and whatnot. So
yeah,
a victory for New Zealand by 12 and under.
You can hear a little bit of doubt in our voices this year. But anyway, yeah, look, I reckon a win, but we've got to get the young fellas in there. I think we've got to get them cracking. So,
Anton, who's going to win it?
Oh, I think the All Blacks are going to win it, and I think they're going to win it by quite a margin. I'm going to go 12 and over.
Woohoo! Well, there you go.
I love it.
Good stuff. Yeah, and Anton, you've played with Dalton Papali'i, so with the Blues. So, what are your thoughts on what he can bring to the game?
Oh, he's awesome. He's obviously an awesome player, but an even better man off the field as well. And yeah, he's captained us this year, and his leadership is second to none. And yeah, I just love the mindset that he plays with, and he's really good at leading by example. So he won't just talk about what the team should do, but yeah, he actually shows it with his actions and also off the field. Like I said, he's a great team man and always organises stuff for the boys to get around, and on the field obviously shows in his performance what type of player he is. And yeah, in my eyes, he's a really good all rounder. He's fast, he's strong, he's fit, he's physical. So yeah, there's really nothing more you can ask for of a 7.
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much, Anton, for coming in and join us. Good luck with your comeback into the Mako team. And then after that, is it a bit of a break, then back into Blues training? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think pre-season starts sometime in December. So
right. No rest.
No, a little bit, mate, and I'm going to try and make the most out of that rest.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, thank you. That's Anton Segner, Blues and Mako player. And that's a wrap. My thanks to Anton Segner and, of course, the mighty Les Edwards rushing off to catch a plane to go to Palmerston North. You can hear this podcast on talknelson.co.nz or on our Facebook page and on Fresh FM 9 o'clock Friday night. And we'll speak to you again next week on the Mako Rugby Roundup. Have a great weekend.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. It's the talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.